Hello, my name is Clive from clivesart.co.uk and thank you very much for pressing that play button. Yes, it is very appreciated. Now, today we're going to be working on a 20 centimetre canvas by 20 centimetre canvas. Conversions are in the descriptions below, but before we get there, that's what we're going to be painting today. It's a very simple, easy, beginner's, novice painting. If you've never painted before, stay with me after this short introduction and let's get down and start painting. Have a bit of fun as well. Yes, nice.
Hey, welcome, thanks for stopping by. It's time to learn with our friend Clive. So grab your brush, have a great time.
And thank you very much for watching that little introduction there. Yes, so as you know, we're going to progress with this. This is a simple beginner's lesson. If you've never painted before, you can do this. I know you can. But before we do that, let's have a look at the palette, see the colours we got. And as you know, the colours are going up the side of the screen there, and this is very, very limited. All I got is a red and a yellow. Don't have to worry about what particular red or yellow this is, just a red and a yellow will do 100%. And some black and some white. Again, that's titanium white and black. Don't worry about black. Now in there, I've got a little bit of water mixed with my medium mixed flow improver. And that's to stop underbinding paint, but we don't want to worry about that at the moment. If water is all you've got, then that is absolutely fine. And I'm only going to be using two brushes in this particular example today. And I'm going to be using a 1-inch square or short flat. Now it depends on what part of the world you are, but you're looking for something about that size. It's a square or it's called a short flat. And I'm looking at a number 4 detailed round brush. That's a number 4 round brush, and that's all the brushes I'm going to be using. Simple as that. There are going to be a couple of other things we're going to be using in this. We're going to be using some kitchen towel. There you go. Kitchen towel is better than toilet roll because it's a little bit stiffer. It doesn't break down so much, and that's why we use kitchen roll in the studio. And I'm also going to be using a sponge, but we will come to that in 1 second. Anyway, without further ado, I'm just going to pop my hat off. There we go, and put that up there. And let's have a look at what we've done. Now, this is available actually on the Facebook group. It's on Instagram. I put it up on Pinterest, but I'm going to be posting these now. All these now are going to be on my website, www.clivesart.co.uk. Just follow the links in the descriptions below, and all my sketches are going to be in there. So pop along and have a look at that. And anyway, we're not worried about that too much. Now what I've done is I've penciled that on, and then I've actually covered it with a very thin coat of gesso. Gesso is just basically a primer. Again, just check out the iCards up there and they'll take you into a playlist called What the Gesso. That'll explain things in a little bit more detail because I just want to get on to this painting today. But you can sketch that on after. It doesn't really matter which way you do it. I'm just going to put my brushes one side 1 second. And I always moisten down my wet palette. It's a wet palette. Again, please pop into the playlists in the top right hand corner. And that's going to take you into hints and tips and things like that. I'm just going to get a little bit of yellow there like that. Now you don't want a lot of paint. You don't want a lot of paint. You want a little bit more fluid rather than paint. So you're looking something around about 70% water or medium mixed flow improver or whatever you've got to hand, and about 30% paint. And all we're going to do very simply is just go straight over the canvas like that. This is called a wash or a ground. You can ground any canvas. There's a little bit of contamination and celebration. You can ground any canvas or any painting surface with any colour whatsoever. So it's a good idea sometimes just to get rid of the white because it affects your eyes and it doesn't help you see the midtones and highlights and darks correctly. So sometimes we put a ground on and that's all it is. It's just to stop that brightness. I picked up a little bit of black there, but that doesn't matter. It just stops a little bit of brightness coming in and affecting your eyes basically. That's all it is. That's all it does. And it helps with the actual painting as well. So we'll cover grounds and things like that at a later stage. But again, if you want to go along to the iCard and press there, there's going to be some links there. Little cards will drop down, or pop along to my website And all my videos are actually there in playlists. So yes, please pop along and have a look at that. Okay, simple as that. That's the first part done. Wasn't that easy? Yes, it was. Washing your brush. Just broke my brush. Washing your brush out with a bit of water. And if you haven't already got one, get a hairdryer. And we'll dry that off as quick as we can. Or just sit around for about 10 minutes and it should dry. So I'll just do that.
Thanks for stopping by. It's time to learn with our friend Clive.
And when that's sufficiently dry, then we'll go back to the palette. And now let's have a look at what we've got here. Well, I've got my number 4 round brush. It's called a detail brush because it comes with a nice sharp point towards the end. Put a little bit of moisture down like that. And let's get a little bit of red. Any red, it doesn't really matter. And we can lighten that with a little bit of yellow. Not white, just yellow. Because if you add white to that, it's going to go like a pink. But we need to keep and maintain an orange flavour to this paint. So we lighten it down with a little bit of yellow. There we go. And we get it to the colour that we want. You can pick whatever colour you want. You can have this red as strong or as dark as you want. I'm going for like a medium range orange. And then I'm just going to decide where I'm going to lay that in. And I'm just going to paint that right across. Very, very simple and easy. Right across my paint in like that. Again, this paint is it's not thick. You want it to flow, and if you can't find it flowing very easy for you, then just add a little bit more liquid or flow improver or whatever you got to hand. Just spread that down like that. You could use a bigger brush if you find it easier. I'm just trying to keep this to a minimum. I'm not too worried about the yellow showing through because that's the effect I want. This is going to be only 1, possibly 2 layers of paint because acrylics are built up in layers, and it's a layer building process. There you go. And if you've got some new brushes like I had for Christmas, don't go using them for this. You can spoil them very easily. Yes, you can. Okay, so we just put that down like that. Now the neat trick here is what I'm about to show you now. So I'm just going to place that in some water. I'm picking up a bit of kitchen towel in, and I'm just going to pull off a little bit of paint, a little bit of that red paint. Keep turning this around, and you're just removing some paint. And what you got now is a nice effect by removing paint. So you've got some of the red coming through, but you've also got some of the yellow showing through, which is a really nice effect. Okay, we'll chuck that kitchen roll in the bin. But going back to our mix now, let's add a little bit more yellow to this. Let's make that a nice yellowy orange. There we go. Let's get that slightly different to what we want. I want a fair bit of paint here. Don't worry about making a mess. That's what art is all about. I don't recommend you mix paints with brushes because they do tend to get a bit chalked up, as you can see that with us getting all thick, and that's going to move up there and it's going to cause problems if we don't clean our brushes out very well. But if the brush is all you've got and you haven't got a palette knife, then just use a brush. There you go. But make sure you wash it out really well because we don't want that to dry in there. No, we don't. Now I've got some sponge. You can use a bath sponge, or you can go out and buy a sponge. This is a watercolor sponge. This is because it's a natural sponge and it's got some lovely effects. And what I did, I put this into some water first and soaked it, squeezed all the water out. So it's not a dry sponge, it's a wet sponge. And I'm just very lightly going to go into my orange and then take the excess off just by there on the side of my wet palette, because I don't want that overloaded. And now I'm going to go in very, very lightly. And very, very lightly all over the background like this. There you go, a little bit more. And it doesn't matter if you come down onto the red that we just painted, because we want that to blend in and disappear. Now if you think your line work is disappearing like mine is, what we can do, we can re-emphasize that in just 1 second. you can draw over that again later on. There we are, that's nice. Now what we're going to do now is get a little bit of white on that sponge and add that white to the orange like that, and bring a bit of orange back into it. Now what you're going to do is you're going to brighten that orange up. You're changing its value, making it a very bright orange. Same type of thing, very lightly, here and there and here. Just put a couple of brighter spots in. If you want it a little bit brighter, just add a touch more white to that. Give it a really good mix, and then bring in a bit of white around like that. Now you can do this background first before you do your drawing, and I suggest you do that if you want to, because you're not going to lose your line work. You can put that onto some tracing paper, and then you can just draw that outline around when you're actually ready to do that. And once we've done that, if we can just get a hairdryer and dry that off, and then we're going to strengthen up the line work again. But as I said, if you want to do that drawing actually on some tracing paper, then you can just reapply it later on. I'm just going to strengthen up the line work after I hairdryer this. Okay, so we did that. Yes, I dried it off with the hairdryer and I basically strengthened up my line work. So I'm grabbing a little bit more kitchen roll, and this is still wet or moist. If it isn't, grab a little bit of where I put it. There it is. Get your little fine mist bottle and just mist down the sponge just to keep it damp. And let's get some red back into this orange. I want to make this slightly darker, and as you can see, I'm not using black, I'm just using red. I'm just darkening up that orange like that, and I'm just going to put a few little spots here and there and there and here. We've done very similar things to this before. I can strengthen this area down here now and make it a bit of a, you can bring that up like that, like a little bit of a curve, and that's just going to strengthen that up like that. There we are. Bring a little bit of yellow back into it. Just play around with these colours. This can be done in any colour. It does not have to be done in orange. So I'm just going to go around the top corner now, making that bit of an oval shape around and giving it a frame. That's what we're trying to do now, is put a little bit of a frame in, bringing a bit of that lighter colour orange back down into this area there like that. And a couple of lighter spots here and there and here, just to merge it all together, get it all nice and lovely. There we go. Let's put a little bit of white. Let's bring a little bit of that over. Let's bring a bit of white into that. And again, just bring these colours together like that. And I think that's all you need to do. Now the key to this is not to overdo the actual background. Put this straight into some water, because it'll dry in your sponge, and you don't want that to dry, because acrylics dry very quick. They dry within 10 minutes. And again, we need a hairdryer. So it's a very good tool, hairdryer. It is, yes. Get in your brush. This is the same detail brush as we used earlier on. It's a number 4 round, and white. Get some white, and then bring a little bit of that yellow and orange mix. We don't want it bright white. We want a bit of a tinge to it. So it's like a lovely, just very pale orange, and that's all we're looking for. Take some paint off your brush, then go back in and just use the tip of the brush. Don't overload your brush if you can help it. I'm going to be using my cork stick. This is basically a cork on a stick, and that's just to rest my hand, because I got like one camera there and one camera there, and it's a bit awkward because I'm sitting on an angle. And all we need to do now is block in this dress, and that's all we need to do, is just follow our patterns, try to get rid of those lines, and then just paint that in like that. Simple as that. And as I said, if it doesn't flow enough, you don't want this too thin. Make sure this is not too thin, because it's not going to work. And you want a nice coverage. We're trying to limit the amount of layers we're actually putting onto this painting to make it nice and easy for you. And if you've never painted before, this is a good introduction to acrylics, and it's a good thing to try. And these things actually sell very well. They certainly do. People like these things. Good little gifts or little birthday presents. You can paint a couple ready for next Christmas, or whatever Christmas it is, because time is relative on YouTube. You could be watching this in June. So yes, so we just paint that dress out like that, maintaining that flow of paint, using the tip of the brush. Don't overload your brush. If you feel at any moment that your brush is a little bit heavy or thick and the paintbrush is not doing what you want it to do, you can give it a little rinse, give it a little wipe into some tissue paper on kitchen roll. I've always got some in my hand, as you can see. I've always got some tissue paper, or kitchen roll I should say, in my hand. And then we just continue then to block that dress out like such. There you go. Now this one I want to go straight into some pure red this time. I'm not washing my brush. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about washing my brush. What I'm going to do now is just go into this dress. A bit more moisture, because my paint isn't moving as much as I wanted it to. It doesn't seem to be flowing very well. I'm going to put a little bit of a riffle on that dress. A riffle, ruffle, ruffle, riffle. And down like that. Very, very simple, basic type of painting for you to practice with. And I just went over a little bit there, so I'm just going to correct that. There we go. And very nice relaxing painting. As I said, it's a really good thing to do, is to get your teeth into something like this. And I am going to be doing still maintaining my beginner lessons, so please watch and subscribe, like and comment. That's very important for my channel. Give me a thumbs up, and sometimes my teeth get tongue-tied, yes, and I don't edit it very much in my videos. It is like as if you're sitting next to me and watching me, yes. And it's really nice having company like that in the studio, because I do appreciate everybody that comes along and watches me, and hope that you take a little bit of something away with you each time you visit. And that's all I want to do, is encourage you to paint and keep painting. And I try not to talk too much if I can. I'm making this a little bit complicated now, because I'm talking too much. That's what happens when you talk too much. Anyway, we've got that basically blocked out. And now I'm going to go straight into a little bit of black. I'm using the very, very tip of my brush. Now you notice the black paint's not going all the way up to the top of that metal bit, which is called a ferrule. I'm just using the very, very tip of my brush, like that. And now, I'm just going to put a little bit of black there, like that. And then I'm going to put an arm in like that. I'm going to put another arm in like that. Take your time. Don't rush. It's the important thing here is actually not to rush this process. We should not rush this process. That's going to come down in front of that dress. Maybe I haven't finished that dress yet. let's put a leg in there like that. If your paint doesn't flow, add a bit of water or moisture to it. Don't overload your brush, and that's about the only two things that I can actually keep on to you about is don't overload your brush. Very simple figures, very effective, not working too hard. What you're doing is you're getting to master one particular brush as well. You're getting to know how this particular detail brush feels, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't worry about it. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's the key. Yes, it's all about enjoyment. Okay, I'm going to put that down, and I'm going to dry that again with a hairdryer. Making sure I wash my brush. You can leave brushes in water, but don't leave them standing upright because they bend like that. Can you see? They bend like that, and then they will retain that shape. So it's a very important thing. If you want to leave brushes in water, lay them flat. But that's not always a good thing because it will loosen the fell. Yes. So I suggest you wash your brushes. There we go. And dry that with a hairdryer. Now what we want to do is go back to our little detail brush, our number 4 round brush, and back into a little bit of this orange we made earlier. Again, not too much. Let's just get a nice stick, and let's put a little bit of colour into that dress. Now it's just going to smooth in, run that in like that. Lovely. And as that's still wet, pick up a little bit of the darker red again and bleed that in like that. And then very, very lightly you can blend these colours together. This is a wet on wet blending method. Blend them in like that. There we go. You can strengthen that red a little bit more, just across the top, there, bringing that down, into that colour. Take off the excess off your brush, take off the paint, dry it on some kitchen roll like that. So you've got a dry brush now, and very, very lightly, just blend all that together like that. Picking up some pure white now, just on the tip of my brush, and I'm just going to go in just down that edge like that, and I'm bringing that colour in to the orange like that, up onto the top. Blending that in. There. Easy, easy, easy. Bit of brighter white. Make a little bit of a riffle. There you go. Bring that up. Wash that brush. Again, remove the excess moisture. Nice, easy method. That brush is nearly dry but damp, and then just pull that through very, very gently like that. And what we're going to do now is going to repeat that process on this dress. So we're going back into the yellow orange mix, finding the center of the waist and then bringing that through and paint with the flow of the dress. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'm painting like that. Paint with the flow of the dress. It just gives that rounded-ish type of shape to that dress, and this is what you want. I don't know if it makes any difference, but it works, and as long as it works, that's all you want to worry about. A bit of a darker colour, again, out. There we are. Go back into that red. Let's just darken that edge there again. There. Again, getting the paint off your brush. Don't pull too hard like that. Just very, very gently take the moisture and the paint off that brush. That brush is nice and damp now, and then very, very lightly just try and merge and blend all these little colours together like that. And if you've got some patterns of the canvas showing through, that doesn't matter. It all adds to the painting. Now, white, straight down that edge. Bit of a riffle. Nice, blending that in. There you go. Bit more paint just on the tip of my brush. What we're going to do now is get a very, 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 very tip of the brush. And let's just bring that down there like that. Taking the paint off my brush again on my kitchen paper, like I just showed, and then just very, very lightly drag that through, sharpen up the edges. Take your time, please do not rush. This is not about rushing. Let's get a little bit of orange, and let's put a bit of, let's darken that up. It's not, we need a little bit of contrast. We need this, that's better. We need that to look as if there's some sort of a face or whatever there. There we go. And again there. It just adds a little bit of dimension, a little bit of colour to it. There you go. And again on this dress, now what I'm going to do on this dress is I'm going to use some red, but I'm going to bring the smallest amount of black to my brush, and then just add that. You can see how it changes that red. Now be very careful you don't go too dark too quick. Add minute amounts of black to that red, and then again let's look at this brush. Now you can put a coat of paint on and you think, well, that's not as dark as I want it, so what we need to do is add a little bit more black to the paint and darken it up a touch more. There you go, just there, and then bring that down, leave a little bit of the underlining colour showing through, and then let's bring a little bit of moisture into this. Been using my little Molly's bark in today again, and she's going to be a 12-month-old now in a few months' time, but she's in her teenage years at the moment, and she's running us ragged. Yes. So again, just strengthen that colour up there. Try and blend that in as much as you can. Let's just put a little bit of contrast here and there. A little bit more black, a bit more red. I have added a little bit more black now. I want that a little bit darker. I just want a definite difference showing through. There you go. Oh, she is barking a lot today. Oh, Molly. There you go. And that just adds a little bit of washing my brush, taking the excess off my brush. There we are, and then just going to blend that together. Doesn't mean a nice transaction, transition. It's not a transaction, Clive. Not buying anything. It's a transition. A transition means that you've got no sharp edges actually showing. One colour blends into the next. And picking up a bit of this black paint once more, and I'm gonna run her arm out like that, strengthening a bit of colour up there. I'm gonna run this arm now straight in front of that one there. And if you like what I'm doing today, then please like, comment and subscribe. I'm putting a little bit of shadow in there, and please check the iCards up. Go to www.clive5art.co.uk. that's my website, and then you will see all my lessons which are available on YouTube, and they're all totally free, and I want you to pop along and join with me, and visit my channel regular, because I have updates every week. Every week this videos goes out. If you're not too sure, then again go to my website www.clive5art.co.uk. There you will actually see all the videos and playlists, and you can contact me if you want to ask me questions. I'm always happy to answer questions. It may take me a little while to actually get to you, but please bear with me. If you leave a comment in the comment box below, I'll always reply to those. And yes, one very, very simple painting. If you've never painted with me before, then please try this. And all remains me to do today is sign my initials in the bottom corner. You can do a monogram, an initial, or you can do your name. It can be in any corner. It doesn't really matter. So thank you very much for joining me in the studio today. My name is Clive from clivesart.co.uk. May God go with you. Have a good day, good week, good month or year, because I don't know exactly when you're going to be watching this, because time is relative on YouTube. And I'll see you in the next lesson. Yes. Please check out the website, and I'll see you then. Bye. Nice.
Hey, welcome, thanks for stopping by. It's time to learn with our friend Clive. So grab your brush, have a great time. And don't forget to click subscribe. Visit clive5art.co.uk.